Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Haribo Haribo O Haribo Nitai Gaur Haribo. Nitai Gaur Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaur Haribo. Nitai Gaur Haribo, 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 Haribo. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gumar, Srila Gurudev, Srila Acharya Deva Ki Jai. Jai Giri Govardhana Ki Jai. Jai Kramsika Ho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Institute Bhaktivedanta Institute Ki Jai. Jai all glories to the assembled devotees. Jai all glories to all the worldwide devotees. Go Premanandi Hari 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 Rabo. Jai Santa Maharaj, Muni Maharaj, Rasaraj Prabhu, Radha Krishna Prabhu, Kanapriya Didi, Teras Didi, and Uma Devi Ki Jai. Krishna Kesava Prabhu Ki Jai. Page 38. One day, Pandanam, Pandana. One day, Sri Guru, Sri Yuta Padakamalam, Sri Gurun Vaishnavam Sa, Zirupam Sagrajatam, Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tham Sajivan, Advaitam Sadvadutam, Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam, Shri Radha Krishna Padan, Sahagana Lalita Shri Vasakanvitam Sa, Om Magana Timirandasya Yananjana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Pujra Shri Guru Varga Vandita Mahabhavamitaya Sada Purva Parya Parampara Pachalita Patya Pamurta Krite Bhaktir Nirmala Nirjarhasya Nivitam Rakshakam Sadaram Vande Shri Guru Devam Ananta Shira Acharyam Varam Nijam Gorva Bista Sapurakam Guru Ganar Ashisha Sambhusitam Chintya Chintya Samasta Veda Nipunam Sri Rupa Patana Nugam Govindabdidam Ujvalam Bharatarum Bhaktanvitam Sundaram Vande Vishwagurun Chadivya Bhagavad Prem No Hibija Pradam Devam Divyatanam Suchandavaranam Palarka Chelan Shitam Sandrananda Param Sadekavaranam Vairagya Vidya Buddhim Sri Siddhanta Nidim Subhakti Lasitam Saraswatanam Maram Vande Tam Subhadam Adeka Sharanam Nyashishwaram Sridharam Sri Siddhanta Saraswati Vidito Gaudiya Gaurvanvaye Bhatto Manuvira Prabhata Gagade Yogora Sankirtanai Mayavada Timigilo Daragatan Uditya Jivaniman Krishna Prema Sudabdigana Sukham Pradat Prabhum Tam Bhajet Namo Gaur Kishoraya Bhakta Vaduta Mortaye Gaurangri Padma Bringaya Radha Bhava Nishevane Vande Bhakti Vinodam Shri Gaura Shakti Swarupakam Bhakti Shashragya Samrajam Radha Rasa Sudanidim Gaura Vajashvita Sheshar Vaishnavar Vande Vigraham Jagananda Prabhum Mande Premabdim Brida Vaishnavam Vanshakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Panchatatvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Namo Mahavaranaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Goro Twitse Namaha Jayatam Surato Panyo Mama Manda Mater Gati Matsarvasva Padambojo Radha Madana Mohano Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpadrubada Srimad Radnagara Singhasthanasto Sri Gandharva Srila Govinda Devo Prestali Bi Sevya Manus Marami Sriman Rasa Rasamrambi Vangsevata Tatastita Karshan Venu Swanar Gopir Gopinatha Shri Suna Vrindayai Tulosi Devai Priyayai Kesavasya Krishna Bhakti Pradi Devi Satyavachai Namo Namaha Ottanatva Manta Gurun Gurun Bhagavatarthadan Vyasan Jagat Gurun Natva Tato Jaya Mudiyarayat Jai Saparika Shri Shri Guru Garanga Gandharva Govinda Sundar Para Padmanam Jayastu Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Shri Prabhupada Shri Guru Maharaj Shri Guru Dev Shri Acharya Dev Ki Jai Jai Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Jai Go Premanandi Hari 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 Bol Jai. Thank you, Prabhus. Page 16. Radha Krishna, Prabhu. Would you like to sing Yasamati Nandana? Thank you. Yasomati Nandana Prajabara Nagara Gokura Ranjanakana Gopi Pararadana Madana Manohara Kaliya Damana Vidana. Amala Harinam Amya Vilasa. Vipina Purandara Navina Nagaravara Vangsi Vadhana Suvasa. Prajajana Palana Suraku Anasana Nanda Godana Rakoyala. Govinda Madhava Navadita Taskara Sundarananda Gopala. Yamuna Tatachara Gopi Vasanahara Rasara Sika Kripa Moya. Shri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Natavara Pakati Vinorashaya. Yasomati Nandana Vrajavara Nagara Gokula Ranjana Kana. Gopi Parana Gopi Yasomati Nandana Brajabara Nagara Gokula Janakana. Joy Hribo. All right, then Teres, would you like to read the English? Thank you.
Sri Krishna, who is known as Khan, is Yasoda's darling son.
Vraja.
Raja's paramour, Gokula's delight, the Gopi's life and wealth, the enchanter of Cupid, and the conqueror of Kaliya?
Yes.
His names and nectarian pastimes are all transcendental. He is the king of Raja's forests and the best of young paramours. He beautifully plays the flute. He is the guardian of Raja's residence, the destroyer of the demons, and the keeper of Nanda's cows. He is known as Govinda, he who nourishes the cows, senses, Vedas, and world, and Madhava, Sri Radha's consort. He is Nanda's beautiful cowherd boy and a butterfly. He is a spy on the Yamuna banks and the stealer of the Gopi's garments. He is the relisher of the Rasa Lila and the embodiment of mercy. He is Sri Radha's beloved, Vrindavan's great dancer, and Bhakti Vinod's shelter.
Joy, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. So that's who Krishna is. A butter thief, among other things.
Great dancer.
Yes. All right. Let's see. Page 45. 8:45. Where is it? Oh dear. Kanupriya Diddy. Would you like to sing? Would you like to sing that? Thank you very much. Samsara dava nanalita loka pranayakaya nagunaganatvam praptasya kaya nagunanavasya Vande Guru Sri Charanaravinda. Mahaprabhu Kirtana Nitya Gita Vaditya Madhyan Manasora Sena Romanchakampa Shutaranga Bacho Vande Guru Sri Charanaravinda. Shiragahara Dana Nityanana Sringaratan Mandira Marjanado Yuktasya Bhaktam Sani Unjatopi Vande Guru Sri Charanaravinam. Chaturvidhatri Bhagavat Prasada Swadvana Triptan Haribhakta Sangan Ritvaiva Triptin Bhajata Sadaiva Vande Guru Sri Charanaravinam. Shri Radhika Mad Haviora Para Madhuya Lila Guru Rupa Nam Nam Pratikshana Swadana Lolo Pasya Vande Guru Sri Charanaravinda. Nikunjai Huno Radikali Sidaya Yayali Bir Yuktir Apekshaniya Tatradidaksha Rati Vallabhasya Vande Guru Sri Charanaravinam. Saksharati Tvena Samasta Shastra Yuktas Tatha Bhavyate Vasadbi Kintu praboya priyevatasya Vande Guru Shri Charanara Yasya Prasadat Bhagavat Prasado Yasya Prasada Nagati Kutopi Yayam Suvams Tasyaya Sasri Sanyam Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vindam Srimad Koror Rastakam Etaruchar Brahme Muhurte Patati Prayatnat Ayastena Vrindavananata Sakshat Sevaiva Labhya Jana Sonta Eva Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vinda Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vindam Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Jai, thank you. Good evening. Page 65. Huh? 65? Muni Maharaj, can you sing that?
Nitai Pado Kamala Koti Chandra Suchi Pado
Ni- Nitai Pada Kamala Koti Chandra Sushitala Ye Chayaya Jagata Judai
Radha Krishna
Hena Dida Kodi Dada Nitai Rapai Se Sambandha Nahiyar Vrita Jadma Kiletar Se Pashu Nitai Naboli Muke Majila Samsara Suke Vidyakule Kikari Vetara Ahankare matoya nitai para pasariya asatyere sacha korimani. Ni Nitaya Karuno Hobe Raja Radha Krishna Pabe Dara Nitaya Sarana Dukani. Nitaya Charana Satya Dahara Sevaka Nitai Nitai Pada Sadakoroas. Narotama Baraduke Naitai More Karasuke Rakaranga Charanera Pasa. Dayanitai, 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 Dayanitai. Dayanitai, 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 Jai. And then, let's see, what do we have? Page 58. Page 58. Are you able to sing on your connection there, Santa Maharaj?
I'll try, Maharaj. Can you hear me clearly, Maharaj?
We can hear you.
Okay, I will try. Page number, Maharaj?
58, Vaishnava Thakur. E Vaishnava Thakur Dayara Sagara Vidase Karuna Kari. Diya Pada Chaya Sorohe Amaya Tomara Charana Dori. Chaya Vegadami Chaya Dosha Shodhi Chaya Guna Dehadase. Chaya Sat-Sanga Nehae Amare Basachi Sangerawase. Ekaki Amar Naipai Bolo Harinama Sankirtane. Tumi kripa kori Sharabindu diya Deya Krishna namadane. Krishna se tomar Krishna dite para Tumhara sabka kiya che. Krishna se tomar Krishna dite para Tomara shakati ache. Amita Kanga Krishna Krishna Boli Daitava Pache Pache. Daitava Pache Pache. Hey Krishna Dana Parvarase Daitava Pache Pache. Tumi dike Krishna dite para. Krishna tomar hridayerdan Tumi dila dite para. Krishna Deva Shakti Dara Tumi dila dite para. Amita Kangola Krishna Krishna Bali Daitava Pache Pache. Jaya Vaishnav Thakur, Vaishnav Thakur, Vaishnav Thakur, Jaya Vaishnav. Vaishnav Thakur, Jaya Vaishnav Thakur, Vaishnav Thakur, Jaya Vaishnav Thakur. Right. Thank you, Maharaj. And then Krishna Kesava. Would you like to sing that? Hari Harai, page 65. 165, sorry.
Dandavats, everybody. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Gopala Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan. Giri Hari Gopinatha Madana Mohan. Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra. Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Rupa Sanatan Bhata Raghunath. Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath. Echaya Goshanikari Charana Vandan. Yaha Hoite Vigna Nasa Abhishta Puran. Echaya Goshanihara Muitara Das. Tasa Bara Para Renu Mora Panchagras. Tandera Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanevas. Janame Mora E Avilas. Echaya Goshanya Bevraje Kailavas. Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Karila Prakash. Anande Bolo Hari Vaja Vrindavan. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majia Mana. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pada Padma Kari As. Harinama Sankirtana Kahe Narottama Das. Hari Haraye Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitagora Haribo, 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 Nitagora Haribo. Nitagora Haribo, 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 Nitagora Haribo. Jaya Jaya Guru Dev, Guru Dev, Guru Dev, Jaya Jaya Guru Dev. Jaya Jaya Guru Dev, Guru Dev, Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Ki Jai. All glories to Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj. Ki Jai. All glories to Om Vishnu Pad Srila Bhakti Nirmala Chari Maharaj. Ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Haribol. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. Uma Devi, you're back. You're back and forth. Can you hear us? Uma? I don't think so. I see.
It's frozen.
Frozen. I don't know what's going on. Is it? Huh? Can you hear me, Uma Devi? God. Looks like there's that red mark there. Muted. But she can't hear either. Can't speak and can't hear. All right, let's see. We'll go on to the next part of our program. Rapana Jivanamrita. Oh, you're there, Haribo. Okay. You've been having some difficulty with the internet. Dandavats. We're going to read from Prapana Jivanamrita. Okay. Prapana Jivanamrita, page 24. Page 24.
We're also getting her response on a delay. I think it's on a delay.
Okay. Okay. So the book by Srila Maharaj, Life Nectar of the Surrendered Souls, Prapana Jivanamrita, page 24. On the top of page 24, Swarta Sadad Katvam. Sadakatvam. Sadakatvam. Swarta Sadakatvam. Samsaresmin Mahagore. Moha Nidra Samakule. Ye Harin Sharanam Yanti Te Kritarta Nasam Shayaha. They're from the Brihad Nardiya Purana, maybe. Prna. A surrendered soul is successful in all endeavors. So it says, in the dense darkness of this material world, which is engulfed in ignorance and sleep, those who surrender unto the holy lotus feet of the Lord Hari are successful, and all their endeavors of this there is no doubt. What does success mean? How do you know you're successful in this world? What do yes, what do you consider success? People are always trying to be a success. What does that mean? They can make a lot of money, they have a good job, they have a big house. They have been successful, and they die. And then they die. So, yes, the real success in this life is to surrender unto the Supreme Lord and His devotees, engage in devotional service. That is the success of human life. Human life is not meant for anything else but that. Who's thinking that success is in something else other than that? They are in ignorance. And sleep. Sleep means they're dreaming. Ignorance and dreaming. I was reading something the other day that thinking, free thinking, whatever thoughts come to you, that type of thinking, spontaneous thinking, that is unlearned thinking, the thinking of the unlearned. Those persons who are not learned, they think in a very free way. Whatever thoughts come, they go with that. But the learned, to learn what you must think, what do you think is better? To know what you must think, or to just think whatever you want? What is better? To learn what you must think, or just to think whatever things come to your mind? What you must think. Sounds unusual, but that one first part, thinking what you want, that's called imagination. Learning what you must think, that's called reason. Reasoning. Reason, rationality, reason. What you must think. That's how, for instance, if you think that by throwing a ball up in the air, and it keeps going up, we think like that, we are in an imaginary world. But if we think that the ball goes up, must come down, we must think like that if we understand the laws of gravity. That's rational, reasonable. So having to think, must think in a certain way, must think according to certain principles or whatever, necessity, I guess is the right word. Think according to necessity, that is called reasoning. If what's a good example? I know all men are mortal. You know that syllogism. It says all men are mortal. Then Socrates is a man. And then what's the conclusion? Socrates is mortal. You must think that, no? It must come by necessity. From the first two premises, the conclusion must come. All men are mortal. Socrates is a man. Therefore, Socrates is mortal, has to come by necessity. You can't conclude, therefore, Socrates is a giraffe. Huh? We can't say something like that. That would be imaginary thinking. Thought comes to your mind, all men are mortal. Socrates is a man, therefore Socrates is a giraffe. Then it's not coming by necessity. It's just whatever your brain is coming up with. So that which is must think, that is called reason. Other things is called imagination. But anyhow, most people don't know how to think even properly. And if you tell them there you must think like this, they'll say you're crazy. Don't tell me what to do. My thinking is free. I can think whatever I want. Right? Uh, Actually, not the right way to proceed. Not the right way to understand things. So Veda, Guru are there. Teach us what we must think. And that's not a problem. And a good thing. Because if there is a reason behind everything and in everything, then we want to think in that way. We want to come and think in that way. Materialists, they think everything comes by accident, and therefore there's no must way of thinking anything. Whatever happens, that's the way it happens. But we understand differently. There's Krishna, there's Veda, and we must think in accordance with their principles, the rational, reasonable Krishna principles. That reason is there, and to come to that platform of reason. Reason means necessity. So A, then B, and B, then C must come. Anyhow, so that is success. Success. Who can surrender? Don't think that everything is up to you to do as you like, but to surrender. There will be the success. There will come to the platform of reason. Human life. Aristotle thought something like that. He said that man is a rational being. Rational being. Otherwise, the animals, they're not concerned with that kind of thinking or reasoning. They do whatever comes naturally. Any question? Comment? Does that sound okay to you?
It's not that sometimes the animals also have some reason. Okay? For example, when an animal see a person in danger, it's not going away. Sometimes they help the person. So even against the instinct to save itself.
Huh.
So sometimes maybe have some reasoning too. So wait.
Yeah.
Like for example, if something's on fire, somebody dies there, first of all, the action just doesn't go away. The something is already helped. Sometimes animals have that kind of instinct too, or reasoning that
How do?
if they would be in danger, they would.
Huh. How do they have reasoning? Why do you think they have?
I think that they feel that something is not right and they want to help. I mean, not all of them, but sometimes they happen. No? Sometimes they have.
I agree, but why do you think that is?
It has to be some kind of intelligence in that animal.
There has to be what?
Some kind of intelligence.
Intelligence.
Like a regular behavior. Okay. Normally, when you see some danger, you go far away to try to take care of yourself. But sometimes they do the opposite.
So what about the sun? Sun travels from east to west.
Yes.
Is it free to go from west to east? It must go that way, right? I say it must. There's some kind of law. They talk about laws of nature. They must follow certain laws. So that must, the necessity is there. See?
The other day I was watching a documentary, and they were explaining like something that happened, like a person is in danger, like a child, he going to cross the street and the car is coming, and sometimes maybe an adult is next to the child, but even in no time, like you don't have the time to reason all those things, they could try to catch the child before the car hit. So it's like something like an instant. You don't have time to reason. Let me go in front and try to help, but at the same time the car is coming, they can hit me. It's something that comes in a second or less. So sometimes they say they have something that is not like natural reasoning, but it's they don't have like explanation for that. They don't even think about that. Just do it.
Well, point I'm trying to get at is that there is reason in everything. Not only a human being, but human beings come to consciousness of that reason. Others are instinctively know, and even the unconscious things like the sun and other things of the material things, they also follow certain laws. Necessity. Law means the necessity is there, and they follow that. In fact, in the ancient days, they used to, because the stars would follow certain laws, they would always follow a certain pattern. They always followed that. They never changed their pattern. They follow it diligently, almost like diligently. Because they would follow those laws, they thought they were rational beings. Anything that can follow a law, they must be rational. So they conceive the stars as rational beings, as personalities. In Greek philosophy, you find that. So to follow a law means you must be intelligent. An ignorant person doesn't follow any laws. He just does whatever they want, barbarian, savage. But a rational person, they'll follow certain laws, certain principles. They don't have a problem with that. So now, if you like you say, animals also seem to follow certain things that seem rational. Yes, that's also inherent in animals and plants and everything. They all follow certain laws. Why would that be, though? So there's one Greek philosopher, his name is Anaxagoras. You ever heard of him?
I think I hear about it, but don't remember so much about it.
Okay. And how Anaxagoras said there's something that rules the whole world, and he called it nous, N-O-U-S, nous. And nous rules the world, and that nous, if you interpret it in the English language today, it's called reason. He said reason rules the world, and that's the principle which scientists follow. Scientists have faith in. They have faith that everything can be reduced to some law. That's the whole purpose of science, to find out the laws that are governing everything. That means they have the faith that there is reason in the world. But now, why would that be? What is the meaning that there is reason in the world? Ultimately, because God is there. And he is a rational being, a personality, a lawmaker, a lawgiver. And if he is the source of everything, then why should there not be reason everywhere? Everything follows certain principles, certain laws. And we try to discover them, but they're there already. It's not that we have to make them. So reason is there in the world, in animals, everything, even inanimate things, because God is there. Supreme person, supreme rational person. That's the foundation. And Anaxagoras understood that also. So many philosophers who understood the same thing. So yes, imagine how you would have to, if you can eat food, you don't have to think how to digest it. There's some natural intelligence in the body that knows how to digest the food. It's not that that we have to understand how it happens before it happens. You eat, you don't have to understand how the hydrochloric acid and other acids digest the food. It happens by the innate intelligence of the body. So there's intelligence everywhere, reason. And thankfully, it's not all up to us because we'd be in deep trouble if we had to control all those things by our reasoning. But nonetheless, it's their reasoning intelligence. So we don't have to worry. Srila Maharaj always used to tell the supreme good, the absolute good is there. Absolute good is there. We just have to surrender to that absolute good. He will take care of everything very nicely. It works everything out perfectly. Not that it's up to us. Not all up to us. That reasoning is there in the world, in Krishna. And the necessity of things is being perfectly adjusted by him.
Well, I was thinking about what you were saying about the sun.
Yeah.
It always rises in the east and sets in the west. And if you think about it, I mean, it's because the earth rotates every day as it revolves around the sun through the seasons. And that was set in motion centuries. I mean, how many years, whenever the creation of the universe happened. And that's something that goes on forever. We don't do anything about it. So, and I mean, as much as I believe that there is intelligence and instinct in living beings on Earth, Earth is not thinking about rotating. It was set in motion and it continues the motion. So that's something to think about. I mean, it's nothing that we did, nothing that we can do.
Yeah.
And it's just, as far as we know, goes on forever. I mean, when does it stop?
Uh-huh.
You know?
Yes, well, there's a very important, just like the earth is rotating. Did you know there's a very important reason for that? If
there is, I don't.
Yes, well, it's like this: if the earth were not rotating, then one half of the earth would fry and be scorched to death. The other part of the earth would freeze. You see, so by rotating, the whole earth gets an even temperature. Sometime in the sun and sometime out of the sun. If it stayed in the sun too long, then it would burn. That part of the earth would burn. And if it stayed too short, then it would freeze. Like that. So there's a good reason. And there is a reason for the sun rotating. And not that it's just doing it arbitrarily. And some planets, they don't do that. They don't rotate at the right speed. Therefore, you can't live on those planets because they don't have the right temperature distribution and not equal, evened out. But it's just
distance from the sun that makes this planet.
That's another thing. But the distance from the sun and the speed of rotation of the planet, they're all balanced so precisely, so nicely, that it's very well planned out, very rationally planned. So even in these things, there's reason. They call it intelligence. Christians have this idea, intelligent design. It's all intelligently designed so perfectly. So, but But the scientists don't come to that conclusion. They think it's just by accident that all these things happen. Okay? All just by accident that we have the right speed, we have the right distance, we have the right revolution, everything. I think it's just by accident. We happen to be in the right place at the right time. But when we look deeply into these things, we'll find there is reason behind everything. And that's what I was trying to explain. Why is that? Because there is a rational being that we are part of. We are part of a rational called Krishna or God. He has his own plan for everything.
Maharaj?
Yes?
There's one point that Teresa mentioned, which I think she said that all these things, Earth doesn't know anything, it just has to do it. But
Yeah.
actually, from the Vedic point of view, not these things all have a personality. They're not just all dead matter. Earth has a personality, the river has a personality. There's personality behind all these material energies. So they're actually all following the Lord's orders. They're not inert, dead subject matter.
Yeah. That's what I was saying at the beginning there when I said the stars rather, they're all following certain movements, patterns. And the ancients used to see that anything that can follow a certain law must be intelligent. I mean, an unintelligent thing won't follow any law. It'll just do it at once. But if it follows a certain law, it must mean there's some intelligence there. That's the way they used to think. Like we have laws, but the cat doesn't observe our laws. If the cats had their way, they wouldn't follow any of our laws. Teresh, you have some cats. they don't know anything about laws. So you have to be an intelligent being, and then you can follow the law. The stars must be intelligent beings. They can follow such nice laws, and they do it all the time very perfectly. So they're perfectly intelligent. Yes.
An intelligent being means that ultimately they're persons.
Yes, they must be a person. Yes, Shanta Maharaj?
Maharaj, I want to ask in this context, then what we can say that is not intelligent? Everything is.
Everything, yes. Why? Why everything is intelligent?
Because in the background of everything there is a supreme
Yes. It's all coming from him. Aham sarvasya prabhavo batak sarvam pravartate. Iti ma pa.
And yet, despite that the fact, there is a clear distinction that we can see that certain things that does not seem to be following the laws like robotically, but there is some spontaneity is there.
That depends on us. Depends on us. We can see. Just like we were telling the last time that Brahmabhuta Prasanatma. Brahmabhuta Prasanatma. Sama Sarveshu Bhuteshu. Everyone can see everything equally if he comes to that position. He sees that everything is the energy of the Lord. And even higher. He can see even higher than that. We won't go into that. But a devotee can see very high, depending on the realization of the devotee. He'll see everything differently. So because we see without proper vision, we may see this in one position, that in another position. That's also true, but there's higher vision also.
This reflects, even in the spiritual world, there are, Stavar Jangam, it is also mentioned in the spiritual world, there's like Santaras and other, higher, spiritual relatives with Krishna.
Right.
And that also there in the spiritual world.
Yes.
That type of existence.
Yes. So, what is Krishna's view of things? See? How does he understand? It's different from ours. Like that. Yeah, there's a very deep dive deep into reality. You have to dive deep to understand these things. It is possible. I remember Govinda Maharaj used to say, even the pillar is alive. He said the pillar is also changing. We don't see the changes coming in the pillar, but it's changing also. It has its own rate of change, of movement, in other words. So we try to divide moving and non-moving. But in the ultimate sense, everything is moving. Even the scientists understand now that everything is moving. They reduce everything to the atom. Atom is there everywhere. And if you look in the atom, it's all movement. Rapid movement, very fast. Electrons moving, this, that, and the other thing.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Gita that the knowledge that one should have to distinguish between life and matter, that is the real knowledge.
Yeah. What is that?
There is some discrimination it takes, maybe in the preliminary stage of development, but it makes that distinction. One must learn the difference.
Yes. Then Krishna Kesava?
Also in the chapter that
Yes. Okay. Very, very good. So then let's read the next shloka here. Ajatendriyanam api shiva dattvam. Kim dorap paranam tesham pumsham udama chetasam yar ashritas tirtha padas charano vyasanat vyasanat yayaha. And Bhagavatama 3:23-42 is said. By surrender, even persons of uncontrolled senses attain all good fortune. So the lotus feet of Lord Hari are vanquish material existence. By surrendering unto his lotus feet, nothing remains difficult to achieve, even for a person of agitated mind. This is like the let go, let God that I told you. My aunt used to tell me, let go, don't try to. Sometimes we get so tense, stressed by trying to control the situation, trying to control what's going on. And thinking that we have lost control of what's going on, and we feel uncertain, fear, distress. There's something going on with this microphone, I think. Getting all these little squeaks and sound. Do you hear that? Little squeaks and sound. That coming from my microphone?
Maybe.
Anyhow, then we may become distressed by that. But if we just realize that we're not the controller, that there is an intelligence, there is a reason for everything, and that it can take care of itself because of that. And not only take care of itself, but take care of us also. That's surrender. When you come to that position, and have that trust, that faith in the Lord's protection and His guidance. And of course, that comes not only in the form of the Lord within the heart, but also in the form of Guru, most especially, and the devotees. And we try to live our life in harmony, in coordination with that world and those souls. Not that it has to be something impersonal, only within ourselves. It can be within and it can be without also. And that fuller world, not only within ourselves, but also outside of ourselves. There should not be any distinction in the absolute platform. And we can learn how to live in harmony with that. That is surrender. So it doesn't require any attempt, any necessity to try to control your mind, as the yogis do. Huh? They try to sit very still, withdraw everything from, withdraw from all activities and whatnot. That's not the idea. When you can understand your, with complete, perfect understanding, complete faith or knowledge, whatever you want to call it, the Lord is there and He is our friend, then there's nothing to fear, nothing to be agitated about. Nothing becomes difficult in that case. We're trying to we're trying to find out how we can get an office in Princeton. And the difficult coronavirus has come. So many things are coming to at this time. Just when we were considering all these things. And we're wondering, how is it going to happen? But if it's meant to happen, it will happen. Somehow, I have no idea how it could happen even. But I'm sure it will happen if that is the Lord's will. Just as so many things happened in my life and in any of our lives that we did not plan for. Even our plans did not interrupt what the ultimate outcome was going to be. And if we were living in a good way, trying to do things in the right way, even though things don't work out the way we wanted it, somehow they work out very nicely. Even beyond our own expectations and plans. That is the outcome. That is the result of the life of surrender. Anyone else have anything to say about that?
in this point, I was remembering something that Guru Maharaj was asking. Somebody asked a question about some devotees that they live in the temple, but then they make the service like mechanical, like they don't do it. They think something else, but at the same time doing like they're trying to do some service, but then Guru Maharaj say that actually it should be like a responsible service that you, in your mind, you think that this is important that you have to do and put your efforts in that way you can control your senses. So they said like a way to control the senses. It's like a responsible service.
Yeah.
Activity.
Yes.
So this is part of that the sense control when you try to put attention while you're doing. That's what it is.
I see.
It's not like any mechanical. It should be mechanical. Should be our material life. When we have to go to work, we have to do this, we have to do that. But service should be focused. Should be like more intense.
Take responsibility, in other words.
Yes. And that way, the senses are automatically controlled.
Yeah, difficult that those the two analogies that are given of the the monkey and the cat. Monkey and the cat. And the monkey, the child always grabs onto the mother and the mother carries the child with her wherever she goes. But in the cat, the mother carries the cat by the neck. The cat doesn't go in the mother's arms. The cat takes the cat in her mouth and takes her anywhere she wants to go with the cat, the kitten. So what do we teach? Do we have to have the monkey philosophy or the cat philosophy? We're not either of those.
Maharaj, I heard Acharya Maharaj say we should be like Yashoda, Mother Yashoda, and keep trying to put the rope around Krishna's.
I remember that Maharaj. Acharya Maharaj was saying this, putting Srila Govinda Maharaj, and during Guru Purnima time, and actually the Mother Yashoda's attempt, what she was trying, it seems to be the same as what the monkey's baby is doing. That means we have a role to play, not just God is doing everything. So Sridhar Maharaj explained in that sense. There are two philosophers in Ramanuja's line. One who thinks that God is going to do everything, I'm surrendered and God is going to do everything. And another kind of philosopher, they think that, no, I have to do my part to serve him, whatever minute may be my existence. So Sridhar Maharaj says we are in that type of line, where we have a role to play, whatever minute it may be.
Is that Christian saying, isn't it? God helps those who help themselves.
We should try to be the baby monkey.
Some work to do.
Sridhar Maharaj free will, Maharaj.
Free will.
Yes.
What's that?
We have some minute free will.
Yes.
And it is absolutely important for higher devotional spirit to manifest.
Yes.
We should try to be the baby monkey and try to grab on, but then we're always going to fail.
Because
we'll end up
the
like
baby
the cat,
has to
so it's
hold on.
both.
Otherwise, it cannot go with mother.
Right.
Because of monkey.
Yeah. So there would be no meaning to service, right? There would be no question of service or devotional service unless we had some responsibility to do something, right? We can't just allow Krishna to do everything. And the concept of service, devotional service, means that we must be doing something in relation to Krishna. That's where the sweetness comes. So surrender is what Krishna taught in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna said at the end of the Gita, told Arjuna, Sarvadharmam Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Praja. Sharanam means surrender. So Mahaprabhu, Krishna taught that surrender. And this is also explaining this surrender. But then what happens when you surrender? That is the next stage. After surrender, that what comes after that? What do you do after you surrender? That's what Mahaprabhu was teaching. You must do something. Surrender is only the that escapement from the mundane illusory world. The renunciation of the material world, that is called Vairagya, Vairagya river. Around the material universe, there's a river that's called Vairagya. And that river is the river of renunciation. So giving up the material sphere, material activities, that is renunciation. But beyond that river, what is coming after that? Do you know? Paravyam, yes. Vaikuntha, yes. But how do you enter there? No, renunciation won't get you there. You enter Vaikuntha by surrender. Srila Maharaj told that the doorway to Vaikuntha is called surrender. You have to go there through the doorway of surrender. So from renunciation, one has to come to the platform of surrender. And then when you enter into the Vaikuntha, even what is that? You have to go past that to enter into that world. Surrender is the door, but when you enter into that world, it's governed by surrender, but there's also activity. There's a world. So that activity is something positive and progressive immortality. Srila Maharaj told us. So there is a world there, positive world. That's the Vaishnavism. We understand that. The Mayavadis, they come to the plane of renunciation and surrender, but they don't go beyond that. So they don't know the positive spiritual world. They think any activity would be like material activity. They can't imagine activity that is not material. But there is an activity that is not material. That's devotional. Exploitation, renunciation, dedication. Activities of exploitation, they have to be given up. That's renunciation. But then one has not finished his work yet because there's activities of dedication that are in the dedicated plane, the service plane. And so there is something we have yet to do. We can keep our personality. Sri Maharaj would tell, yes?
Sridhar Maharaj also says about this point specifically about the freedom of the devotee, because there is it seems to be there is no freedom in the case of that cat philosophy where mother is carrying everything. He says that Krishna says that I am also become a what you can say paradhin, means I become dependent on my devotee. I give my freedom to my devotee. So Sridhar Maharaj says, by surrendering, we are not losing our freedom, but we are getting it to the highest degree, in the sense that even absolute is coming under the tongue.
I couldn't hear Maharaj. What did you say?
By surrender, we are not losing our freedom, but it is manifesting in the highest way, where even absolute is being controlled by those devotees who have developed that highest consciousness of love and surrender. That's what Srila Maharaj says.
Yes. Okay.
So it's not eliminated the freedom.
Right. So this section is about surrender. So these ideas that are being presented in this section are about how to come to the platform of surrender. But actually, beyond that, there is, again, dedication. Surrender is not the ultimate thing. But that is the doorway. You can't get to Vaikuntha without going through surrender. The plane of the spiritual world is differentiated from the material world by this line, this limit. The limit between the spiritual and material world is called Sharanagati. And that whole world is of the divinity is based upon that ground. The ground of the spiritual world is called Sharanagati, surrender. Then one can actually be said to have some spiritual life. And spiritual life is possible to comprehend or to live, have some substance if it is based upon that Sharanagati. Otherwise, it's simply material exploitation. That's three things where Srila Maharaj used to emphasize. Exploitation, renunciation, dedication. Exploitation is the material world. Renunciation is the middle platform. And then dedication, the dedicating world. There's a difference between material, spiritual, and the abscissa, the line between.
Maharaj, how this faith and surrender is related?
How what?
Faith, Shraddha, and Saranagati, how they are related?
Faith and Shraddha and Sharanagati. Well, we can't. How do you enter to the world of Sharanagati? That, like I said, beyond Sharanagati, there is a world. There is a world of dedication, of service. So unless you want to give up, unless you can give up your material engagement in order to come to that platform of surrender and then entrance into dedication, how will you do that? That's required faith. Faith in the devotee, ado shraddha. By having the faith in the devotees, we have faith in the activities of that spiritual plane. That there is activity there means that we have to have faith that the devotees are in that world and that I want to associate with that world. And not simply maintain the association I have of exploiters. We have so many friends in the exploited world. No, that's there. But if you have faith that those exploiters are not going to lead me to where I want to go, will not lead me to my spiritual destination, then you must have some faith, put some faith in those persons. Generally, people of the exploited world, they see the devotees and they think, oh, they're wasting their time. I can't do it like that. I'm not interested. And they're living such a austere life or whatever, not doing anything practical. So they have their faith in whatever the scientists and the politicians or whatnot. But devotee doesn't have faith in those things. He has faith in the devotees. And he wants to associate with the activities of that dedicating world, the service world. So there, faith is required to get to that position. Ado Shraddha. First, there must be faith, and then gradually one can develop a service attitude. Ado Shraddha Tata Sadhu-Sanga. He has faith, then he can associate with the persons of the higher world, the dedicating world. And then Anartha Nivritti, then getting rid of his other attachments, faith in other things besides the devotee, besides the devotional world. The Anartha Nivritti means faith in so many other things besides dedication. Anartha Nivritti, then Nishtha. Then he can become, once freed from all those things, he becomes fixed in the dedicating world, in the service world. And will develop so many and what do you call it? Taste, ruchi. Yes, ruchi. He will develop the taste of those activities, and like that, he will be situated far above all material contamination gradually, and have bhava and all these wonderful experiences of spiritual life will come.
Maharaj, in that ladder of Adho Shraddha,
Yeah.
where actually Sarnagati is attained in that.
I'm sorry? Where is?
That ladder of Adho Shraddha to the Sadhu-Sanga.
A ladder, okay.
Where in which step actually Sarnagati is attained in that? Or it is already in the beginning of
Yes. Sharanagati. Yes, by having faith in the devotees, Sadhu-Sanga, I think by developing that affection for the devotees, yes, already your Sharanagati has taken shape, taken form. As soon as we give up our affection for other things, non-sadhu, untruthful things, then at that point already our surrender is coming. Feeling attraction for other things than that lower world. And I think Sharanagati may be seen also from a mundane point of view, that from the mundane point of view, we have to give up something. Surrender means kind of giving up something, no?
Yes, Maharaj. Gita Krishna says that.
Yes. Yes. Sarva dharmam parityaja. Parityaja means to give up. Yeah? So that's coming from the plane. What's that?
Is that to do with anartha nivruti in this case? Or where?
No, that by deciding to come from out of the material world, there Sharanagati becomes important, to give up. But once we come to Sadhu-Sanga and Shraddha and Sadhu-Sanga, we already are coming from a different position, Shraddha. How do you have Shraddha? Shraddha is a different thing.
I think Shraddha is present, Maharaj, throughout all these stages. Even from Adho Shraddha.
Yes, could be.
There must be some
Shraddha.
there. But then it becomes more and more condensed as you go through these stages.
It's awakened. Shraddha is awakened once we see the devotees. Who has that quality? That Sukriti? That Shraddha will be awakened when they see that. Shraddha is a kind of, as affection. In a very initial stage, Shraddha is actually affection. The whole process that Rupa Goswami gives is about love. It ends in prem. From Shraddha to prem. It's all about that. So Shraddha is like the initial prem, the initial affection that is there between the conditioned soul and the devotee. There's some affection, some attraction, some love, some interest to make a relationship there with that person, with that activity, with that world. That's Shraddha. Where Sharanagati involves some kind of giving up of things, not a positive thing, a more negative thing. I would think. Yes. Wait. Radha Krishna Prabhu, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, Maharaj, Srila Sridhar Maharaj said something very wonderful.
What?
He said, Shraddha is the halo of Srimati Radharani.
Ah, yes. That's right. Halo. Heart and halo. That halo means the faith in service. Radharani is the personification of devotional service. So her halo, who can get into her halo? Who has the influence of their halo, her halo in their life means they have faith in her and devotional service. She is the personification of devotional service to Krishna. So who has her? Who has faith in that world, in that taste, in that activity? They have the halo in their life. And who actually develops that love? That is the bhava. Kunti and bhava, it's called. Kunti means the halo, and bhava, the mood. Who develops that mood of Radharani? Then they have the grace of her. Faith and then grace. Both must be there. First the faith, the halo, and then the grace to get that taste of that the service that she's relishing. The service of the servants of the Lord. Radhadasya. Not so interested in the Lord, but the servants of the Lord. Radharani is the chief servant. So who has attraction to her? Has attraction to the service of Krishna, the servant of Krishna, and to serve her. Our attempt is to try to help the best servant of Krishna. She's the best servant. We don't want to serve Krishna. It's difficult, first of all. But why we should try to serve Krishna if there is already a servant there who is the best servant? Our attention is then to serve the servant, to make Radharani's service even more, whatever we can contribute to that, make it more perfect, if there's such a thing. We want to serve Radha. She is doing such nice service. We want to help that, assist her with that. Rather than thinking, no, I want to be like Radha. I want to serve Krishna. So that faith in Radha, that faith in the serving the servant of Krishna, that is the halo. And then to actually develop that mood, there's the bhava, the mood that she has. That'll be the next thing. And so we know in Mahaprabhu's pastimes, there is Gadadhar Das and Gadadhar Pandit. You know? Gadadhar Das and Gadadhar Pandit. Gadadhar Das is the halo. And Gadadhar Pandit is the bhava of Radharani. Why is that? Gadadhar Das is the halo. And Gadadhar Das is with Nityananda's group. He is in the group of Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu is in the process of distributing Krishna Mahaprabhu's teachings. Distributing. So the halo is also the distribution function of Radharani. That spreads everywhere. Spreading everywhere. The halo. But the bhava, the relishing of the taste of service, that was by Gadadhar Pandit, who was in the association of Mahaprabhu. So both are there, heart and halo, bhava and kunti. So who has that halo? That is the faith, that Radharani, to develop that faith. And by that faith, we can develop the taste by associating with those who are in that level, that mood, Pandurya, service, they can get that. But they have to start with the faith. So I think that Shraddha is beyond Sharanagati. Sharanagati, when we have some material coming from the material level, and we're trying to come beyond that after renunciation, we may try to come to Sharanagati. But after that, we want to have some positive engagement. Interesting. Interesting question. Interesting question. Yes?
In Mahaprabhu's conversation with Rai Ramananda, he has even told to Rai Ramananda, the Sarvadharma Paritya, this is external.
Ah, yes.
Go ahead. And only he told when, come to a sadhu.
Yes.
And here, then he told this is correct and go ahead.
Yes.
And in Gita also, he says that Panipathena Paripasyena Sevaya. So when we are coming to the sadhu, although Shraddha we are saying, so as you told, it seems that, it already crossed the stage of Saranagi. Otherwise, he cannot associate with the sadhu.
I think that's correct. Okay. Anyone else? Thank you, Maharaj. So, shall we read one more?
Yes, Maharaj.
Samsara klesha aritvam. Sarira manasa divya vayase ye cha manushaha. Potikascha katam klesha bhadaran hari samshrayan. And also from Bhagavatam. All worldly suffering is vanquished with a surrendered soul. O Vidura, how can a person who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Hari be stricken with bodily and mental tribulation arising from the elements, other persons, or unfavorable astrological circumstances? I remember one time Srila Prabhupada said, one time Srila Prabhupada said, he said, don't, all these astrological predictions, horoscope, whatever they call that, horology. He said that can be removed simply by clapping your hand and say Hare Krishna. That is eliminated just by clapping once and saying Hare Krishna. When you're clapping your hands and chanting Hare Krishna, all your astrological bad omens, whatever, will be finished.
Something he told about Arati also I heard, Maharaj. When you take Arati also, you're all, the chart, everything changes.
When you take what?
Arati, Maharaj. Arati, with your hand, you take the Arati on the lamp that is offered to God.
I see. So again, all right. How can a person be stricken with bodily and mental tribulation? Mind is not disturbed. I was reading something that Kusham had posted on her page about cause and effect. That the cause is not influenced by the effect. Just like the mind is the cause of the body. Body may be sick, but the mind doesn't care for that. Or, and then he gave the example, the soul and the mind. Mind might be disturbed, but the soul is not affected by that. So cause and effect. Cause does not have to be affected by the effect. Effect is influenced by the cause, but the cause doesn't have to be influenced by the effect.
It happens, Maharaj.
Huh?
Both are affected. Both are interrelated, Maharaj.
Related, but they have some also hierarchy. They have some hierarchy. Just like Krishna tells in the Bhagavad Gita, soul is not burned by fire nor wet by water. Those things are not within the domain of the soul. They're only the attributes of the body. So soul can be aloof from that. Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma. Na Sokshati, na Kankshati. Again, who is in that position? They have a different type of knowledge. That knowledge that allows them to be aloof from the ordinary ideas that come when we don't have that higher knowledge. They were who's trying to judge who is this, who is that, good, bad, whatever. They may be disturbed by all those considerations, whereas the devotee has a little bit higher conception that is not absorbed in those things, and therefore he feels more peaceful. So just by chanting Hare Krishna, one will automatically come to a higher transcendental feeling within themselves. And all those things that are causing stress for others may not be there in the heart of a devotee. Just by chanting the holy name, taking shelter of the name. So we can experience that in our own lives. Not that it's just theoretical, but we know that's there. Anyhow. Anyone have, I think it's yes. I think we'll stop. If anyone has any question, comment. Maharaj, you have anything else to add?
No, Maharaj. I think Radha Krishna Prabhu left.
Yes, something happened.
That message earlier was from him saying he was leaving.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right.
Weather, Maharaj, there it is good.
Yes. Not so bad. The much of the western part of the country has been in extreme heat, and we haven't had it so bad. And they had the fires there, and everything is very dry. Here it's quite moist. We had a lot of rain, and a little humid, but not as bad as there. At least we have the air conditioning that helps. But let's.
Snow, everything is gone for a long time.
Snow won't come until the end of the year, hopefully. Of course, we never know. Here we're also subject to hurricanes, and if some hurricane comes, then it can be very difficult. Anyhow.
Here we are getting some little warm weather now.
Is it warm? Yes. Shitoshna Shukadugada. You know that?
Yes.
Shitoshna Shukadugada. Just like this summer and winter come. So happiness and distress is coming also. Coming and going.
I was thinking flights from India to USA to start running. But seems to be, the situation is very bad, both in India and USA.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing. But even getting on the plane is risky. Not only when you're in each country, but also trying to go between. Then you have to go on that plane. Then there's also some risk.
Yes.
So we have to be patient. That's all. Krishna will arrange the things as he sees fit. All right. Then I will ask your Permission to end? Am I done? No, it's Jai Ko Samavira Bhakta Vindaki Jai. Hare Krishna. Bye, Therese. Hare Krishna.